365 Days of Sport.
That's right, it's 365 Days of Sport, the greatest sports radio show on the planet, as you well know. It's me, Beefy, and to my right, the one and only, the Sultan of Bass.
Ooh.
Rob Bryce.
A sultan now. I'll take that. That's better than like a prince or
Is it?
The Machine. I'm normally referred to as
Yes, the Machine. I've
even.
seen that.
It's a pleasure to be here. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here on early on a Saturday morning for a change. Bit of a mix-up, a bit of a bumping around, trying new things.
Thought I'd wake up early on a Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I actually, for the first Friday since I can remember, did not touch one drop of anything last night. Yeah, I was hard at work trying to finish our trailer, and I got involved, and all of a sudden it was 11 o'clock at night. I said, well, there's no point cracking anything now.
I'm picking my jaw up off the floor as we speak.
Yeah. It was, well, it's because I went out about 3 nights during the week, so it made it a bit easier, you know. Roll with it.
Friday's just another day, Rob, as you well know.
It's all in the mind. It's all how you perceive things.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no real rules there.
Perception is reality, as we well know.
Yeah. Any day, every day is the same. Christmas Day could be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly right.
Yeah. What have you got for us?
Well, talking about perception is reality, did you see there's a guy taking Science Works to court?
Science Works
in Melbourne.
What have they done wrong?
Well, they've got an exhibit where they project Kathy Freeman running. So she's running on the wall, and the idea is they've built a little track where you can run faster than Kathy Freeman.
Okay, and there's copyright on Kathy Freeman running or something
No.
like that?
This guy decided to take her on and play it into a wall, trying to beat her.
Did he win?
Well, I think he did.
Yeah, well,
but
that's
not,
worth it.
But not in life, obviously.
Yeah. What's the sort of distance there's around? How does it work?
10 metres.
10 metres?
Allegedly, yes.
So it's just an off the mark. It's like
Kathy Freeman's running along and you've got to try and beat him. But apparently he got so into it, he forgot to look forward.
Right.
And played into a wall.
Do you know Jonah Lomu was the fastest man in world rugby?
Over 10 metres.
I think even including sprinters, I think he was actually the fastest man in the world over 10 metres, which is why he was so lethal, because off the mark no one could get him. Big man.
Imagine that in the Olympics. The old 10-metre dash.
Yeah.
They always say Robbie Fowler, he was the fastest player over 3 yards.
Robbie Fowler?
Yeah, Robbie Fowler.
3 yards?
3 yards, yeah.
Okay, was it just like a standing leap? Was it like one of those kids at the Greenland thing?
It was a striker, and obviously if you give anyone 3 yards of space when you're striker, bang back of the net. So that's what that's what he's playing to fame.
Anyway, back to our man who's hit the wall.
Yeah.
What's happened?
So in this thing, you know, people can pit themselves against the 400-metre gold medalist, Kathy Freeman. So this guy, he had a warm-up effort, and he thought he wanted to have another go at beating Kathy Freeman. And all these little things made me think I could beat her. I got a bit competitive, thinking, I can take on Kathy Freeman, he said. I focused in, took off, and I'm still not sure what happened. It's a bit of a blur. I realised I couldn't stop after the finishing line. I thought, what am I going to hit? I couldn't see it, because it was all so dark. Then I was 30 centimetres from the wall. I saw what was going to stop me.
Right, so and it was the wall.
It was the wall, yeah. So he's suing him for not having a crash mat.
Right, or just some sort of bit more give.
Or a door.
Or maybe just he could be a bit less of a psycho at the Science Museum and not sort of, make it as huge feat for the day to try and take down Kathy Freeman.
So I love the note on here, it says, the court case is ongoing.
It sounds like it's got a lot of grey area to me.
Yeah. Stupidity shouldn't pay.
Well, what sort of damages is he looking for here?
He broke his neck.
He broke his neck?
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that changed.
And a punctured lung or something. So.
What the hell was he doing?
He was going pretty fast.
Jesus Christ. 10 metres. Who knew you could do that? So that's basically an example of what a human being can do if they just run as fast as they can.
Into a
wall with nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Like, even with Kathy Freeman aside, you can do a lot of damage.
If
you really try your best, if you're focused.
If you really try.
Yeah, and apparently if you don't intend to, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. What's his name, this man?
I'm not going to say, just in case we get into trouble.
Okay.
Dean Smith, 44.
We'll get sued for mockery.
Dean Smith, 44, of Victoria. Hey, have you ever been dropped for any stupid reason? Or have you failed to play a sporting event for something stupid?
Oh, no doubt I have. One time when I was about 12, I told him I was sick, but actually I wanted to go to Rainbow's End in Auckland, in New Zealand, which is like a really shithouse theme park. That's probably
like
off the top
Park.
of my head.
Yeah.
But normally I pride myself on turning up no matter what state I'm in.
That's it.
Yeah.
What about forgetting your kit?
No. Probably at some point. Nothing off the top of my head. Yeah.
So Aaron Finch
Yep.
got dropped from his IPL team this week because his kit didn't turn up.
His kit didn't turn up.
So they were playing away.
Yep.
So the kit, all the team's kit came back.
Yep.
Apart from his.
Okay.
So he didn't play.
Right. Hang on. So he's been dropped like it's his fault?
Well, the quote was, unfortunately, this is the captain at the toss, unfortunately, Finchy, he'll miss out today because he lost his kit bag, explained Lions captain Suresh Raina of the decision to select Jason Roy in place of Finch. His kit bag didn't arrive on
You'd
time.
hope at that level that would be a pretty straightforward sort of procedure.
That's
I
exactly
would have
right.
thought. But, well, disappointing. That's yeah.
Disappointing indeed when you get paid per match in the IPL.
Well, it's like the can't bowl, can't throw guy got dropped because of the song.
Yes.
So that's an odd way of getting dropped.
Yeah. You'd think you'd be able to borrow kit, but no.
What? Like his bat pads can't do
everything. Everything didn't turn
He wouldn't
up.
have even had. He wouldn't have had a named shirt. I guess.
Well, he could have been
the problem.
Suresh Raina for the day.
Yeah.
But
Just
because
mixed it
of
up.
his
Blank
contract
man.
deal with Gray Nichols on New Balance, whoever he's with,
Oh, he can't do that.
couldn't wear the gear. That was it. So he couldn't play.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
What's the world coming to? Why
I'm
are
glad
we
you
not-
said that.
Jesus.
What is the world coming to? So, yeah.
It's just a bit of cricket. We're paying you like $1 million for 4 weeks or something.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Not important.
And he's one of their star men as well, Finch.
Yeah.
You know, he's at the top of the order.
He's top of the order, Australian
I mean, he's not
captain,
having
of
a
course.
great year.
Nah, he's sort of
but-
gone off the boil a bit,
Yeah.
Aaron Finch. Yeah, anyway.
There you go.
Well,
So what-
congratulations on
Yeah, well done,
on
Finchy.
that.
He had a
done,
night
Finchy.
off.
Well,
Yeah.
great performance. Mm-hmm.
So what about this in Sarasota as well? This tennis match on the satellite tour, live on ESPN 6, got interrupted by shenanigans.
Kruger has the phone in a deficit situation. Well, that is the most bizarre situation. I don't know how to put this, folks, but somebody's phone going off in the stands. And it was an adult video.
30-15.
I still hear it. It's still going. What is going on?
Can't be that good.
No, that's not a phone. That is... That's an apartment across the lake. Oh my God.
40-15.
Well, everybody was looking around to see where that was coming from and finally figure out that wasn't a video.
Brilliant.
Very good.
I love
That's oh gosh. It sounded like I thought I couldn't work out what the hell was going on myself. There
Yeah.
definitely sounded like a phone initially.
Yeah.
What tournament was that at?
So the Sarasota Open in Florida, and that was Francis Tiafoe and Mitchell Kruger.
It's you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of those old Great Wide World of Sports piss takes that Billy Birmingham
Yes,
used to
that's
do.
right. Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, a testicle has popped out of her costume.
I find tennis incredibly boring, so yeah.
That made it a little more exciting for you.
Yeah, well, they found something better to do than watch tennis on a midweek.
They were really vocal, really
They
going
were.
for it.
She
Congratulations.
was. She was loving life.
Really
I
bringing a
love
new
the
angle
way
to the show.
that was one of the players that said
It was one of the players.
Yeah, that said he can't be that good, which I thought that's fantastic. But that makes tennis a lot more exciting.
Yeah, a bit of noise, bit of volume, bit of
That's
action.
That's the news for this week, and we have a special guest who's flown in unbelievably all the way from Bali.
just coming our show for
he's
no other reason.
Going back tomorrow.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, because we've got a huge budget on this show. We can pay for anyone to do anything. Yeah.
So we have Paul Winslow is in the studio, is famed author, one of the founding fathers of the Barmy Army, passionate English cricket tourist, footballer, used to be bowls magnate in Australia.
Quite the curriculum
Oh,
vitae.
it's unbelievable.
Welcome, Paul. Welcome to the show. Lovely to
Hence
have you
why
in.
he's here
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here.
on this early Saturday morning. I know you've had 2 heavy nights.
Well, yeah, but it's worth getting out of bed to talk to you guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
goes without
appreciate
saying.
it. Thank you so much.
So you're living in Bali now,
I am living the dream, yeah.
if you could say that. 5 beers for the price of 1 in Melbourne.
Yeah,
Basically.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That is the dream that I'm living.
Yes.
That's-
Yeah.
no. The rest of it's kind of the palm trees are nice, the beaches are nice, but
Yeah.
the fact
Yeah.
is the beer's about fifth the price. So.
Right.
Yes.
So
Apart from
the
you got to drink bintang.
major thing in everyone's life,
Well,
basically.
yeah, you do have to drink bintang, but you know what? So be it. It's not the worst.
Well, if it's only $1 a beer.
Exactly.
So how does the schedule work out for you? So you have your cruise along in Bali, and then when cricket season rolls around, when the Ashes comes around, you're right in there. You're sort of taking the lead.
Yeah, I mean, sort of going back a few years ago, I was working for the Barmy Army, so I just did all of it, home
Yeah.
and away.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I've got one of those things called jobs, which does
Right.
get in the way a little bit.
Boring, yeah.
The
No
story
good.
about Aaron Finch actually just reminded me of my failed attempt to watch cricket overseas last year. So
Forgot about that, yes.
I was, I thought you'd just put that in deliberately to kickstart this story again. Yeah, I'll get that one out because of all the amazing experiences I've had around the world watching cricket. And then last year I was working out of Dubai for a few weeks, and I thought I'll go over to Wysag and watch the Test match and catch up with my mates. And I was in London before Dubai, and I was really sort of stressed and running around with work, so I got an e-visa from the Indian Embassy online, and it said there's only 16 ports where you can actually go into the country. And
Right.
then I booked my ticket from Dubai, and it said Dubai to Vizag, 1 stop, Hyderabad. I'm like, good, Hyderabad, it's on the list, happy days. And every time I've ever done that, you get off, you do your international flight, you get
Yeah.
off, you clear immigration, then you jump on a domestic flight.
Yep.
No, not this time.
No.
Couldn't get off. It was the same plane. It landed. They basically wouldn't let me off. They cleaned around me. They kind of lifting my feet up and like hoovering underneath my feet, and I'm wiping my head. I think it was just about ridiculous. All the meantime, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, this could be a bit of a problem. So I turned up to Wysag, which is, I'm sorry, Wysag, it is one of the world's worst airports, and I've been to quite a few of them. And basically got told no, I wasn't allowed in the country, and they were going to deport me back to Dubai. And I sat around in the airport for 12 hours, being babysat without my passport, and then went back home.
Right. Well, that's a great trip.
Yeah.
Great venture.
It was epic.
Yeah, yeah.
The fact that the cricket ground was about 20 k's away.
Yeah.
There were friends I hadn't seen in over a year
Oh,
who were all
my
sat there
word.
texting me, and except the texting didn't work because there's no Wi-Fi in the airport. I was hot spotting the immigration
Was
guy's
there
phone.
was there booze on the plane even or something, or is
Nah,
it
no.
What airline was
couldn't
this, Paul?
find.
I think it was Emirates. I think.
Oh, was it? Oh,
So,
geez.
yeah, I mean, and the thing is, they even checked my visa as I got on. So that you have to provide your visa
To
and
get
they
on
go,
the
yeah,
plane.
you've got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
visa.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll be all right then, no problem. So that was
That's a bit of a balls up
It
all
was
round.
a little bit of a balls
Yeah.
up. So I
Yeah.
kind of sat in the airport talking to the immigration guy, and I said, I could buy you a flight to Hyderabad. We could be there in 40 minutes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can take me to the immigration office in Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Clear all this stuff out. We'll fly back, and you can go home.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
go back to Dubai, mate. So
Yeah.
Disappointing.
So, yeah.
Because we had our own situation in Cochin in India,
Is that, I can never remember the
Yeah.
name of the place. Where
where
in
we were in transit
limbo.
in limbo, and they kept us in a glass room
Yeah.
with a Finnish girl.
And we had one minder each that sat
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right beside us, and all 6 of us fell asleep.
Yes.
just in this room. I
and
remember that.
they kept us for 3 hours, and nobody knew what to do.
Nah, it was a shambles. But then as soon as we got out, all they wanted to do was take us to the bar at like 11 a.m. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Well, that was my key thing. As the sort of thing was finally over, and obviously sitting in that airport for 12 hours a day was, take out the fact that I was missing the cricket, couldn't get into
Yeah.
the country, was one of the most boring experiences of my life. And just as we were walking, they gave me a passport. So, will you come back to India soon, sir?
Yes.
I just looked at him. I said, "Well, am I allowed?" He goes, "Well, of course, you've got a visa. It's valid for a month."
Brilliant.
welcome back.
I'm going basketball.
Basketball.
We don't really hear too much about benders, but there's one guy in particular that is off the rails.
Right.
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson of the...
Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah. What sort of period are we talking here?
Late 90s all the way through 2000s.
The Spice Girls starting to take over the world at this point?
Yeah, that's right.
He's
That's
involved
what
with that.
sent him into drinking oblivion.
Okay.
Basically, he was a serial drinker, just got on it all the time. Iverson once threatened his wife, Tawana, that he would pay a man $5,000 to have her killed. He also gambled away and drunk away $200 million.
That's a
lot, isn't
okay.
it?
Didn't need to do that, really. Could have just held on to it.
He could have hung on to a bit.
How's
He had
finances
a-
nowadays? Is he going all right? Is he recovered?
Well,
or?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's
wrote a book or something.
Reebok used to pay him $10 million a year just to wear their gear.
That's a good haul
and
from
keep
Reebok.
keep up this bad boy image as well, so
Okay.
they could sell more shit.
Yep.
Iverson also told Tawana they would pay someone $1 million to testify in divorce court that they had an affair with her. Yeah, I love this. His price scale for nefarious deeds strikes me as poorly thought out. So he'll pay someone $1 million to testify, but only $5,000 to kill her. Tawana also
I'm glad he
accused-
specified that. You know.
That's right.
Yeah, there's differential.
Tawana also accused Allen of numerous instances of spousal abuse, including stepping on her barefoot and grinding his boot heel into her, punching her in the back while laughing out loud. That's a kidney shot! Iverson was an absent father who once left his young kids alone in a hotel room for a whole night to go and get hammered. His most famous instance of being on the gear basically turned up to a press conference absolutely shit-faced. He repeated the phrase, "We're talking about practice," 22 times.
Okay.
So he just went on and on.
Why do you want to talk about practice?
Well, I don't know. It was an end of season thing, and
Okay.
they kept
It wasn't an official
talking
game.
about- no, they kept talking about his drinking, but
Okay.
he was absolutely lit.
Yeah.
If he'd have been sober, he would have been able to get himself out of the mess he created for himself. Iverson never bothered to work out as a pro, and sometimes ate 4 hot dogs in a row before taking the court.
That's good.
So, yeah.
I like that approach.
Yep. He got so drunk one night, he lost a one-on-one match with Nelly. He was obviously so impossibly drunk, he got beat in basketball by a guy who's shorter than Little Bow Wow. So, and he was out drinking with Joey Crack, who I've never heard of, one night in New York, and they were out drinking till 6 a.m. Iverson slept on Joey Crack's sofa,
Yep.
and then went and shot 50 on the New York Knicks that night.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
So he could-
that's part of the best part so far is that he
Yeah.
pulled through. Was
So
he a pretty sharp player on the whole?
He's in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the
Okay.
greatest ever players.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely just legendary.
And a real go-getter. Always moving forward.
I love this bit as well. Thanks to Iverson, the Hilton near the Sixers practice facility sold more Cristal, the champagne made famous in rap songs, than any other establishment in the country.
My word.
So he just got on it, yeah. So
Congratulations
and
again,
in his finally in his divorce settlement, the judge actually made him not drink for 18 months.
How did he go with that? Did he
Well, I
succeed?
don't know.
There's no follow-up on that?
Hopefully he did. And he's not allowed to consume any alcohol
Case was dismissed.
for 24 hours before seeing his kids. So, yeah.
But I like the fact that he has pushed through successfully
Yeah.
in the face of incredibly poor behaviour.
Yeah.
So,
So
he's a big qualifier for greatest sporting
Oh,
benders.
definitely. And in his last throes of his career, he went and played in Turkey and
Right.
places. I think he was even touted to come to Australia at one stage just to make some money so he could pay his bills.
Now, Paul, what we're looking here from you is we need someone who destroys himself and is a disgrace to themselves. And
I know
has
plenty
a
of those.
shambles, but then somehow manages to pull it together and succeed. Either succeed or horrendously fail.
So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Freddie Flintoff.
Yeah, that was the obvious
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
but we talked about the fact he took 3 Viagra a night before a test match, then ran himself out because he couldn't really run properly due to...
Yeah, he couldn't get back to the normal state again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
News to you?
that is news to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Freddie
You gotta
Flintoff
listen
drunk
to
a
our-
few times, but I
Listen
didn't
to our
know-
show. We've got lots of different news.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't done my homework. I feel really bad. I mean, I can think of several people who have watched
Just
cricket
far away.
and embarrassed themselves in various circumstances. But you know, there is a kind of code between us that you don't share my embarrassing stories, and I
Right.
won't share yours.
Right. So not to be told on radio shows, for example.
Well,
Public
preferably
forum.
not. I mean, when it was quite an interesting exercise when I was writing my first book, all about the sort of going on tour with the Barmy Army, and you kind of you have all of these stories, and then you sort of go,
Oh.
I'm not sure I want to share that
Yeah.
one. So there is one in the book actually. So I won't tell my mate that I'm on this show, so I'll share it. It was of a guy who we were in Mumbai, and everybody was getting very, very antsy with the cab drivers because you'd get in a cab and you'd give them the business card of your hotel and say, do you know where that is? And they'd always nod. Say, yes, you know what the score is. And anyway, everyone, so eventually, mate and I get in the back of this cab. We go through the rigmarole. Do you know where the hotel is? Yes, I do. Then he gets out, and my mate just cracked it. I still don't know what he was thinking of, but he basically decided that he got out the back seat of the car and decided to get in the front seat of the car and was going to drive the taxi. I don't know what he was thinking for 2 reasons. Well, it was 3. A, it's clearly a bonkers thing to do, and we were lucky to get out of there alive. B, he didn't know where the hotel was, so it's not like he could have done it.
Sure.
But C's the cracker. He didn't have a driving license and couldn't drive.
A few factors against him there. How did it work out in the end?
I pulled him out the front of the cab and basically got him the hell out of Dodge so that we didn't get beaten up by a bunch of angry Indian
Did he
people.
actually get the car going?
No. I don't think he would even know where to put the key. Sure, that's the level of driving experience this guy had.
Well, he sounded like he was very assertive though in his thinking. Well, despite whatever the consequences, he made his real statement that he was.
There's a fine line between assertiveness and stupidity. And I think he was on the wrong side of it this time.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the processes in his mind, thinking, "No, I'm going to drive this cab myself, even though limited driving experience."
Stormation.
He could have nicked
a full Stormfest.
A tuk-tuk. That would have been interesting.
That has been done.
Oh, yeah, see, there you go.
I mean, tuk-tuk races in places like Sri Lanka are sort of 10 a penny. You know, it's just like the irony of like in the morning you get in a tuk-tuk and you go, God, that tuk-tuk driver was an absolute idiot. He was going really, really fast and like really, really dangerous. And then you have a few beers at the cricket and you get in the tuk-tuk and go, come on, mate, you've got to beat that tuk-tuk over there.
I hope you don't like get a whip out or something. You know?
No, you just you wave cash.
It was a night in north of India. Everything seems to come back to India, doesn't it? It's like that's where everything happens. And there was a bar, and it was the only good bar, and then outside they had cycle tuk-tuks, so like the actual pedal ones that you had to, but for some reason, you know, we would get out at the end of the night and then just give them the money but tell them to get in the back because we wanted to cycle them. And on the last night we were there, there's a guy called Graham who is very famous in Barmy Army circles. Graham's not svelte, slim character, shall we say,
right?
And I had him as my passenger and the other guy, and was determined to win because obviously it's very important, and there was a U-turn on the way and I managed to stack the guy's entire bike then sort of pick the bike up and say, just get in because we still need to win the fight.
I'm a big fan of the Barmy Army songs. I often find it interesting how there's a lot of thought and a lot of wit. The whole crowd always laughs whenever they hear them, and Australia, the comeback seems to just sort of have someone's a wanker and that's about it. Let's change the name. Just like let's sort of just do that. Why do you think they can't get together and sort of come up with something a little more competitive?
You know, they did sort of try, and I remember being in Sydney back in 0203, I think, and you know they had a trumpeter and you know they had song sheets and you know they kind of try, and then it just sort of dies to death because as soon as they start doing anything, we just pipe up and dominate them anyway. I've had this conversation with so many people because I mean the sporting cultures they're not as different as everybody thinks, but I think a lot of it has, you know, its basis in football in the UK. Obviously, the singing that goes on there and the chants, and that's been a thing for, you know, probably since, I don't know, 50s, 60s, and obviously in Liverpool in the 60s there was a lot of that side. So it's sort of inbred into the culture, but you wouldn't think it was that difficult to actually put into a culture, given that every time we come here.
I don't think Australians are very good singers on the whole.
I don't know whether you've heard the Barmy Army, but we're pretty awful. We kind of go with, if there's a lot of us, you won't realise quite how bad we are. So
right.
I think Australians are a lot more passive in the way they watch sport, aggressive in the way they abuse English people, but passive in the way they watch sport. So we do have a favourite game with them away from the singing as well, because there's a few of us have a passionate hatred of beach balls at the cricket. And it's just it gets worse every year, and I think we all probably need to go to counselling for it because it's probably not as important and as big a deal as we think, but it kind of distracts everybody. And this goes back to what you're saying about, I mean, it's not just Australians because this happens in the UK as well, but you know, you're watching cricket and you sort of, they're sat there kind of, you know, the tension could be amazing, you know, great bowling, great batting and the battle's going on, and then people put a beach ball in the air, they go, beach ball! Beach ball! Beach ball's coming near me. Can I get a touch of the beach ball? Get a touch of the beach ball. Oh my God, watch the cricket. So we just make a point of whenever the beach balls come near us, we just pop them. And that tends to make them very, very angry.
I think when the beach ball and the Mexican wave start taking over, that's when you know that you're failing as entertainers or as a spectator.
It's just like, do you know what? If you want to play with a beach ball, there's a beach down the road. You can have fun. You can go in the sea as well. So, but we got called some very, very rude names by a lot of Australian fans when we were doing that once in the last Ashes. So kind of look forward to doing that again because it really, really winds them up.
Well, it's very, very soon, isn't it?
It is very soon. Yeah. November.
Exciting. Love the cricket. Love it.
They'd probably just say, "You lot are wankers." You lot are wankers.
We got a bit of that.
Yeah.
I was sat next to a female friend of mine when this started happening, and he goes, "Mate, I hope your wife divorces you." And I just turn around and I'm like, "Oh no, that was even worse than that." He goes, I think it was something like, I think your wife's a wanker or something like that. I just turned around and I said, well, when I get home and tell her you've said that, she'll be very upset.
I think part of it when we talk about the Aussies and they they'll sing something, and the thing is with the Barmy Army, because it's a little bit creative, the response is very quick.
Yeah.
And then the Aussies
Can't
there's
keep up
nothing
with
new.
off the cuff.
Yeah.
They're not ad-libbers.
Yes.
Yeah, improvise.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of someone who is a bit of a wanker, I've got a little bit here about this week in Great Sporting Benders.
Yes.
I tried to find sports you would not expect to hear misbehaviour.
I like it.
I've got drunk sumo punches manager.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this guy, Japan's most famous sumo wrestler, is in hot water for getting drunk during a Grand Slam tournament and punching one of his managers. Mongolian Asaharu Akinori is one of only 2 grand champions in Japanese sumo and is regarded as one of the greatest wrestlers in the sport's history. But he's also known as a perennial bad boy.
Nice.
Once again, he's fallen foul for the sport's consecutive authorities for getting drunk after the 6th day of the Tokyo tournament and then punching his manager. When asked about the incident, Asaharu replied that he always did that sort of thing and it was no big deal. The 154-kilogram Mongolian is just one victory away from winning the tournament, apparently. So I like that attitude. You know, if you do it, if you do it all the time, it's the norm, which means it's fine.
Yeah.
No big deal.
So, is he actually confirmed drunk? Because you got to drink a lot of piss to get drunk when you're 154 kilos. I mean, we talked about Andre the Giant and his huge sessions when he wasn't really drunk.
I don't know. There's no mention of quantity, unfortunately.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
just a
bugger.
brief in and
On
out. Here's another one. Boozy chess grandmaster passes out mid-game. It's fantastic. Roistering Russian grandmaster Vladislav Chaikev, long famed as the Oliver Reed of the international pro chess circuit,
Whoa, that's some commitment.
reportedly passed out drunk during a tournament match in India and had to be carried off.
India again, see?
India.
All
happens.
roads lead back to India.
According to the Indian Express, grog-swilling brainbox Chaikev, born in Russia but nowadays playing as a Frenchman, was already well lubricated.
Dressed up as one.
Was already well lubricated at the beginning from an early match. He nodded off several times while pondering his strategy and had to be awakened by nearby players. Then, according to the Express, the thirsty player left the table and briefly refreshed himself in the change room whilst his opponent waited. After returning to the match, his condition worsened and the boozy grandmaster eventually passed out completely, slumping unconscious across the table. Attempts to revive him failed, and he eventually had to be carried off.
Nice.
Can you just go back to what was it? Grog swilling brain box.
Grog swilling the famous.
I would like a business card with
Yes,
that on.
that's
Like,
it.
What do you do? I'm a grog swilling brain box.
That's exactly right.
It's a great combo. So there you go.
Chess.
Chess, Greatest Sporting Benders. Chess has made its debut. He's actually a bit of a dodgy lad all round. He's also a bit of a bad boy of the chess
there
circuit,
you
and
go.
he's even started up this Hot Women in Chess magazine, and he's managed to get the top 10 hottest female chess players to do like full nude centerfolds.
Oh, beautiful.
Brings a whole new meaning to porn magazines.
He is. Oh, yes!
He called
chess
it.
pun.
I think he called it Porn Queen or something.
of course he did,
P-A-W-N.
yeah. You're not gonna call it anything.
well, very well
He
picked up
probably
on.
invented that drinking game where you have like one shot on one.
Yeah,
on
as soon as you
on
lose
chest.
it,
yeah,
you
you have to have a shot.
Bang,
That was
there you
probably
go.
him. Yeah.
Well, that's basically Greatest Sporting
Oh,
Bender
I
for
love
the
that.
week.
That's good. Good work, Rob.
All right, worst song in the world.
So he played the first song that came to his head. It just so happened to be. It was the worst song in the world. It was the worst song in the world. Listen to the song and it's clear you're wrong because the words don't fit and the song is shit. You're a talentless kid. You suck!
Well, last week I claimed that I'd found the greatest worst song in the world of all
Yeah.
time. Wouldn't you know it, 1 week later,
Yeah.
I may have topped it again.
Every time.
There's 1986.
86.
86. So what we've got here, Paul, basically, we find sports songs that are horrendously bad. When sports and artists get together and they try to make some sort of fusion concoction,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work out.
So
and
we've
they
done a
make some
few
bad stuff.
FA Cup songs
Yep.
because that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
we are
Huge
the
spring to
UK.
mind.
We revert straight back to that. We haven't done Hoddle and Keegan yet, and those ones, and Waddle and
Waddle and Huddle, Diamond Lights. Whoa.
Diamond. There you go.
Absolutely.
That could be on the cards fairly soon. But yes,
I've just noticed in my research that in 1986 a lot of bad stuff came out, particularly in America. I think
Right.
it might have been one particular group of guys that got and started making these Rick James style Super Freak sort of raps with the players doing their own rap about how they perform in the team. Last week was the LA Rams with Ram It. This week we've got the New York Mets with Metsmerized.
Get mesmerized. Get mesmerized. Get mesmerized.
You can turn this off already.
Get mesmerized.
Turning it up.
I feel like I've been hypnotised.
Get mesmerized. Get mesmerized.
I'm George Foster. I love this team. The Mets are better than the Red Machine. I live to play, and that's my thing. This year we're gonna win the series ring. Play together, our team's real tight. Don't mess with us, we're dynamite. Strawman Daryl, it's all the same. You call him Barry, what's in a name?
Thank you, George. You're a classy guy with your black back. You know we sure rely.
This is abysmal.
You know, California is where I'm from, but for New York, I hit home runs. No, we got it. We're the beast of the East.
This isn't just the worst sports song in the world. This is the worst song in the world.
Did Daryl Strawberry really struggled there? It wasn't flowing.
3 strikes, you're out.
Oh my word! That
My
is.
name, what can I say? You know they call me Dr. K. Change up, fastball, slide.
I just love it. The best thing. Later on, one of the Hispanic guys comes in and he can barely speak English.
Oh yeah,
It's particularly good.
that.
That's the part where it gets better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when it really goes global.
You're a Liverpool fan. What
am.
year was the Anfield Rap? Because that, as soon as I heard that reminded me of the Anfield Rap.
It was, it's exactly what sprang to my mind, and the fact that it makes John Barnes sound like Eminem, you know, in terms of the rapping stakes. It's just like, it's just gone, you know, you thought John Barnes was quite low, and then you just realised, actually, there was quite a lot below him.
Yes.
So, I've got 86 in my head.
I had 86 in my mind as well for Anfield
obviously
Rap.
there was-
No, that's truly awful.
Yeah, that's
That,
abysmal.
mind you,
That's the Australian cricket fan sort of level, really, isn't it?
I think that's it.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's really insulting.
Well, I've gone to the States as well. Mine is also a rap based, very similar, but mine's from 1990, US men's national team.
Okay.
Soccer, when they qualified for the World Cup in 1990. This is when the US men's team were essentially college kids and amateurs and a couple of other pros who were in Europe.
Yeah.
And somebody put money into the team to try and get them more airplay and get them a bit more exposure. This is what they came up with.
USA has realized a dream. They will qualify for the World Cup in 1990.
Togetherness in unity means victory for you and me with dedication, heart and soul.
It's the rap.
You have to choose to achieve your goals in a battle. I never lose because I'm a champion. I march on till victory is won. Reaching higher,
Better than Daryl
striving
Strawberry.
harder, always doing better, because it's a part of the winning spirit. You gotta keep your chin up, and we'll be coming home with the World Cup. So put your best foot forward, together let's step. But make sure momentum is kept. Togetherness and unity means victory for you and me. With intellect and self-respect, attain whatever you want to get. Togetherness and unity means victory in Italy. With dedication, heart and soul, you have the tools to achieve your goals.
It's a very positive message.
Yes. Def Jeff wrote that.
It sounds like the Christian
it says
rap,
everything.
a Christian rapper.
So this is the chorus. Togetherness and unity means victory in Italy. With dedication, heart and soul, you have the tools to achieve your goal. Now, what is unbelievably crass about this whole thing? The video is about 10 footballers in shorts only on the beach playing keepy up. But then it cuts, so there's a lot of that on the beach with hot bodies and everything else and trying to make, you know, these soccer players out to be kind of stars.
Impressive.
Then
beyond belief.
they cut back to the studio of them recording the song. And who's in the video? O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, Kathy Lee Crosby, Nitro from American Gladiators.
Oh, of course, I remember Nitro.
Yeah, and Luke Robitaille, apparently.
I don't know who that
who was
last
probably
one is.
Canadian.
Okay.
So what he was doing in the US soccer men's team, I
knows?
don't know. So I love this, though. It says, we thought the rap video was going to catch a wave or something, and people are going to know us. Armstrong said he was part of the team, but nobody cared. It wasn't like, hey, I saw you in the video, man. That was great. But it was like no one ever noticed.
Dear, oh dear.
The video vanished from the airways faster than the team from the tournament as the US lost all 3 of its pool games in Italy and returned home to little fanfare.
So the song didn't inspire the results in the end. It didn't work.
No.
To be fair, though, it does sound as though they actually got their song out before the tournament, which was a problem with the England cricket team.
Oh, yeah.
When the World Cup was on in England several years ago, and I think the Barmy Army were involved somehow. Anyway, there was a song that was supposed to be the official song, and like, yeah, right, cool, we're going to have a song that's supporting it.
Yeah.
And there was a problem with the production, and it came out after England had already been knocked out. So,
Oh, beautiful.
So, you know, that was that kind of...
That must have been a
is an
serious production problem.
yeah.
I've recorded a lot of music. It's not that hard.
Well, you know, back in the day, the England cricket team could make hard work out of anything.
There's sort of any bootleg copies make it out.
Yeah, I think there's probably loads of copies in the Barmy Army warehouse somewhere. So we did another one as well for the Ashes in when was it, 2009?
It didn't even get the chance to inspire the team.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's why the team did so badly. It was nothing to do with the fact they didn't know which hold of the bat to end.
Sure.
Bat to end, then which end. Yeah, it didn't have that chance to inspire them. So
it's a real disappointment. Oh well, I'd love to hear that sometime.
I do actually. The scary thing is, I have got it on my laptop, which is in the corner
What's
of the
it
room.
called?
So I'll send it.
England will win.
Something. It's got an impression of Tony Blair on there.
Oh, beautiful.
It's pretty awful. So I'll make sure you've got that, so you can play it on next week's show.
I think that it never even got played. Could it be more of a failing? That's sort of like Billy Idol not performing at the rugby league that year when he went on a hovercraft.
So when I knew Paul was coming on, I was actually, because I have got a copy of one of the Barmy Army songs, which is actually quite catchy. It's not a bad song. So I was going to bring that in today just specifically for Paul, but I thought, no, I don't want to remind him of it.
We did one. There's been 2 or 3 forays into the recording studio for the Barmy Army. So we did one in 2009 called Hey Hey Ricky.
Yes, that's right. I remember that one.
Yeah,
that got some airplay over here, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, we were supposed to have done some deal with, I think it was the Sun or someone. They were going to give us some promotion, so we were like, well, you know what, that's the kind of thing. Yep. Unfortunately, on the day it got released, Michael Jackson died, so they had 20 pages of Michael Jackson done, and somehow a bunch of numpties sort of singing crap about sort of Gilchrist and Hayden and that lot. Didn't seem to be as important as the Prince of Pop sort of pop in his clog. So that never really took off either.
Disappointing news. That's like when they released Seinfeld to go on TV and they invaded Iraq on the same day. No one watched the first show.
Yeah,
The timing's rough like that. What do you think of the Beige Brigade in New Zealand? They're sort of chugging along okay. They've got the alternative commentary collective now, so it's a guy named Mike Lane.
They're brilliant. I love going over. Well, I mean, we love New Zealand anyway. It's a beautiful country, obviously. Got some really nice cricket grounds. Looking forward to going to Christchurch next year. But they have. It's kind of funny. They have more of that mentality that the English boys do, but there's less of them. We were in Dunedin 3 or 4 years ago, and there was these guys, and there was about 4 or 5 of them. Turned out they were in a band, but like they turned up every day with their instruments, and they'd written different songs. They were kind of better than some of ours, if we're honest, because they were actually musicians. And we were just like, but it was brilliant. We had a right laugh with them, and the same with the South Africans. We were there sort of 18 months ago. And they came and they had their song sheet, so it was a bit forced, but you know what, they gave it a crack, and it was a good laugh. But also there's sort of, I think there's less animosity there, so we're happy to trade songs with them and tell them that we've got 23 rand to the pound, which for some reason I thought might be a little bit insensitive, and they seem to think was absolutely hilarious. But I met a guy last night and he said, oh mate, there was this video clip. He didn't say it in an Australian accent because he was South African, but he said, he goes, there was a video clip last time you guys were over in South Africa, about 23 rand to the pound that went viral. And I was like, yeah, I know, I was in it. And he was just like, really? And I was like, yeah.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you grow, and now you know about the facts of life. The facts of life. When the world never seems.
Facts of life.
Facts of life.
Are we going back to where we were last year or something like that? Have you got something special?
Yeah. We were back in Australia.
No.
We were, 22nd of April. Surf life-saving.
Oh, yeah. It was nice hanging out at the beach.
It was kind of nice hanging out at the beach, but it was...
My feet got sunburnt. It looks exhausting work. They look like extremely fit people, those guys. Yeah. I couldn't be arsed really doing that, all that, jumping through that, saving lives. What's the benefit in that?
What's the benefit of
Yeah,
saving
yeah.
lives
I don't want
in
to save
Australia
someone
where everyone lives
else's
from
life.
5Ks from the
Yeah.
coast?
Oh,
So, yeah,
disaster.
surf licensing. It's interesting that the crowds, how many people, I mean, it was the Australian national titles. But,
Huge crowds. Oh, I tell you what I did quite enjoy was the Baywatch style running for the sticks.
The beach flags.
Where there's only there's 5 sprinters
So you
and only
sprint
4
over 20
sticks.
metres. And
You
so-
must have seen Baywatch, Paul. I mean, in Indonesia, you'd be living in the beach. You must be a beach type person.
Yeah, it's ridiculous not to, but it's quite funny
Yeah.
over there because they don't quite have they have lifesavers, but I'm not sure whether they've ever saved a life.
Okay.
It tends to mainly be give a young kid a whistle.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when you see people get into the rips, you just basically hear people whistling, and nobody pays a blind bit of notice. So they just go. It's like, do you know what, mate? You're just going to attract all the dogs. You're annoying me, and the people you're trying to get out can't hear you.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's just get on with it.
So beach flags, if people don't know, they put a little bit of hose, put it in the sand, and you sprint over 20 minutes. So 10 people start, and there's only 9 bits of hose. So you dive, you grab a bit of hose. The person who doesn't get the hose is eliminated, and you go through till there's 2 people left.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And it ends up being on 2-on-1.
Yeah.
And
then
that's the one thing.
Broken
Can I ask
arms.
the rather obvious question.
Yeah.
What on earth is the point of that?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's got to
I
do
think
with
it's like,
lifesaving.
I think it's the same as the guy who hit the wall earlier.
Yeah.
It's just off the mark sprinting. Who's quick
Yeah.
off the mark, get the fast twitch
So
muscle
Jonah
fibers
Lombard,
going.
if he was 10
But
metres-
I don't think it helps save lives and directly
Well,
in
the other
terms
thing
of the
is-
actual...
Unless there's a length of hose that's
Yeah, that
drowning.
need-
your
Basically,
arm off and
what we're
turn
saying
them
is it
into
makes
floats.
complete sense.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
It makes more sense than running into a wall.
Yes. So yeah, the weird thing about that beach flags is you have to start lying on the sand with your chin on your hands, don't you? That's the
Yeah, that's
starting
right.
position. Is
And
just,
do you face the opposite direction?
yeah,
as
you
well?
do. You face the opposite, and like you
That
say,
makes sense though, because that's how most people sunbathe. If you think about it, so it's the kind of noise will be telling you
Yeah.
you've got to get up.
Someone's
you know.
dying, turn and run.
Yeah,
there you
absolutely.
go.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
method to the madness.
Well,
So
that
that's-
was
that's very brief.
That was
I
very
just-
brief.
it's
And then after that, we
reminiscing.
came down, went to the AFL. I think was it?
We did
yeah,
Anzac
which
Day, which is this
in
week.
a few days.
So
as
we
well,
did the
isn't it?
AFL and the rugby league on the same day.
Yeah.
Mr. Winslow, you just told me this morning as well. There's a new book out. It's got nothing to do with sport though, but I'd obviously love you to promote it while you're here, talking to thousands,
Well, that's
tens.
very, very kind of you. Yeah, having written 2 books about going around the world and getting drunk and watching cricket, I ended up writing one on living in Bali. So they say write what you know, and I'm sticking to that script very, very rigidly when it comes to writing books. So yeah, it's called Culture Shock Bali. It's all about what it's like to live in Bali and be an expat in Bali. So. There's some practical stuff in there, but a lot of sort of anecdotal stuff about the crazy stuff that happens. It is a different way of life over there, and some of the things that happen just make you go, "Wow, that's pretty full on." But so yeah, Culture Shock Bali is number 3. So who knows what will be number 4?
Beautiful. I love that.
But you're such a local now that you'd be like, where to avoid tourist areas and stuff, or how does it sort of work in that regard?
I mean, I live in one of the main tourist areas.
Yeah.
It's just a case of finding a way. You can't really escape it because it just is. It is tourist. If you want to live somewhere that's got the nice restaurants and the nice bars, then it's going to be full of hotels and it's going to be full of tourists.
Tourists.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of realised that we all love low season, obviously, because although it's rainy season, it's just a bit quieter. There's less traffic and stuff. And I went to our local sports bar. 3-4 weeks ago to watch the Liverpool game, and I realised that it had started again because there were usually the bar's empty, and it's just me and a mate and maybe 3 or 4 other people watching the football, and there were 25 people in there with their Aussie rules Guernseys on, mate. Come on! I was just like, that's the Australian bogans have invaded Bali again for another football season. So, by which I don't mean all Australians are bogans, but there are a lot of Australian bogans in Bali. So we landed it's got nothing to do with sport, but we did land from Dubai the last time I landed, and there was a bunch of guys over from Perth and going, is this ours for luggage? I don't recognise anybody from our plane, but it's the only one that's actually going round. And I was just like, there's a screen up there. You probably just go.
Let's have a read.
I'm guessing you're from Perth, so I think you probably on that one over there.
Yeah.
It's
you just walk around and yell and see what happens, and see if you get directions. That's what that person was
I kind of
thinking.
felt like I should have put them right, but it was more fun just watching them struggle. So.
That's always fun.
So there's obviously a good. Is there much of a UK contingent there, or is it obviously being closer to Australia? There's a fair few, but
there is. Yeah, I mean,
you get a lot of football fans to go and watch the games with.
Yeah, tourist-wise, obviously Australia's the most, and there are a few expats as well. But I mean, I play football over there for the mighty Bali Lost Boys. So shout out to the Lost Boys.
The Indonesian football league's strong.
It's a complete and utter. Can I use the word clusterfuck?
Yes,
I just have. So I mean, basically when I got there, I've been there nearly 3 years, and the whole league got shut down by FIFA. When you get shut down by the most corrupt organisation in the world for not being particularly good at your job, you know there's something going wrong. So we ended up in a situation where a lot of the pros who were out of work actually ended up coming and playing for us and donned the mighty Lost Boys shirt, which was quite amusing for us because we were kind of playing local teams and we just all sat back and watched these guys just rip it out. But they were good lads. It's getting on its feet now, so they got back in FIFA and they're throwing a lot of money at it. So there's 2 or 3 sort of big names coming into it now. Michael Essien signed up for a team recently, and then Carlton Cole, and then somebody sent me a link the other day saying they've now been banned because they played without having the proper visa. So that kind of sums up Indonesia.
Something of an oversight.
Well, yeah, just a bit like the oversight that my friend was going through yesterday. So he was renewing his visa, so it's a year-long visa, and it costs you about $2,000. And he went into the office to get it, and the girl who was dealing with him basically went into the back and started crying, saying, "I don't know what to tell him. I don't know what to tell him," which is obviously very reassuring. Yeah. And it turns out that the agency hadn't actually sent the money with the key test, so his passport's just lost somewhere. So you know,
so he's in jail.
No, he's not in jail. He's legal.
Just hasn't got a passport.
But he when he wants to get out and back in again, he's going to have a little bit of a problem. So, but there was one of the guys we used to play with. He went and got himself a gig in Malaysia. So he was playing in Malaysia, not the Premier League, I think the one below. We were a bit shocked the other day when we saw a picture of him being arrested for match fixing. He'd only been there 5 minutes. Well, the funny thing is, he's an absolute brilliant guy, fantastic footballer. So we were all just like, that he can't, surely. Anyway, it turns out he's said, "Nah, it wasn't me. He was just giving evidence." It was like, well, the only problem is, before they took him to sort of give evidence, they put him in handcuffs, so it doesn't really look good the next time he wants a club. And he's just like, "No, seriously, I was just giving evidence." It's just like, you know,
it's not going to be your Facebook profile.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, good. So what's on for your afternoons? You've got many friends to catch up with, and it's going to go on a bit of a. It's kind of a sporting bender for you this week, by the sounds.
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can have a go. Maybe you can do something ridiculous and it can become a story. We can talk about it next week.
Well,
like
I mean, the most sporting bender. I mean, every cricket tour is a sporting bender, and you know what? It's everyone is basically just a marathon. You know, I mean, you basically kind of get to the ground in the morning. And especially for those of us who are soft touches, somebody always wants to start drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And they kind of know that they know their targets. So it's just like, here we go again. And then, of course, you go out all night. You do that for 5 days. Do it over Christmas and New Year. And then you're double whammied because you'll have Christmas Day, Boxing Day test match, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day test match. And it's just like, this is ridiculous. But
great.
The most famous one we ever had was called Brutal Thursday. Yeah. Where we were in South Africa, we decided to start drinking Brutal Fruits, which is like their equivalent of Bacardi Breezer, because we were just a bit over Castle Lager. And it was never in the history of human consumption has so many coloured drinks been drank by so few over such a long period of time.
So, in preparation for Adelaide this year,
yes,
day-night test, 2 p.m. start.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be a ripper.
Well, this is it. This is what
number test is that one?
2. Playing hours will be 2 till 9:30.
Yeah,
because there's always the extra half hour nowadays. So you're getting out on the town 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and you'll be going right through
till.
That's
a recipe for a disaster.
But you get a bit of a sleep. So you don't have to be at the ground for 10:30.
That's true, actually.
The reality is that
it's actually going to work out
That's not a recipe for disaster.
No, it's only easier.
A recipe for disaster is getting to a cricket ground at 9:30, starting drinking, then getting out of the ground at 5, starting then, and so by 10 o'clock you're absolutely poleaxed, and there's still a few hours to go, and nobody's very good at going home. So this is going to be...
You get an extra 5 hours recovery.
Yeah, exactly. And you can basically, instead of start drinking in the morning, you can have a nice lunch, something to base on, you know, and go to the cricket, the floodlights.
I couldn't have been more wrong. I retract that statement. What was I thinking?
Day-night cricket is the future.
Well, very good. Good luck with the rest of your week and you're keeping it together, and the new book, obviously.
The other two books available on Amazon or
Yeah,
well,
if
basically.
if you want to buy on Amazon and make me a penny,
Exactly.
that would be fine.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for
Continue the
thanks
barley
for that,
dream.
'cause,
Well,
you make loads of money selling books on Amazon. So
Well.
But no, you can buy Going Barmy from
Yes.
Sportsbooks Limited. And
Sportsbooks
that way
Limited.
I make about 10p instead of
Oh,
1p. So it's
beautiful.
going to make all the difference. That's
Yeah, yeah.
like, a third of a bottle of Bintang as opposed to the dregs at the bottom.
Yep, that's it.
Every little bit counts, people.
So-
Good. What's coming up next week, Beefy? What do we got? What's in the mix for you for the weekend?
Don't know.
No, you got nothing happening.
Probably
Nothing
not.
interesting in your life whatsoever. You're just going to be sitting around.
Like I normally do now.
Yeah, good. Well, I can't wait to hear about it next
I know.
week. I'm already intrigued. I'm hooked. Tell me more.
For once in my life, there's nothing going on.
Paul, thanks so much for coming in.
Yes,
it's been a
Thank
real
you very much
pleasure.
for having me,
Very
boys.
much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And 365 Days of Sport. We'll see you next week.
It has been 365 days.